Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So, first thing first, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Hamdy Maulana, and today I'm going to be the leader for this focused group discussion. Secondly, I would like for everyone to also introduce yourself. From my right hand side, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello guys, my name is Daniel and I'm 18 years old and currently I'm studying in Prasetya Mulia University.
Hello guys, my name is Brian Matthew and I am 18 years old and currently I'm also studying in Prasetya University.
Hi guys, my name is Rika Mandasari, you can call me Rika. I'm 19 years old and currently studying at Prasetya University.
Hi guys, my name is Angelica Cecilia. I'm 17 years old and I'm currently also studying in University of Prasetya.
Hi guys, I'm Davin Arya and I'm 18 years old. I'm studying in Prasetya University.
Okay, so after every one of you guys have introduced yourself, now let's go ahead and jump right into the topic of this meeting. So the headline of the article is Post-Pandemic, Some Forever Changes to Higher Education. So as we know, in the article, in May 2002, the World Bank, UNESCO, and UNICEF called COVID-19 pandemic as the worst educational crisis on record. So after being an educational crisis, especially the worst one, of course it will have an effect. It will cause some change that are quite long lasting, and this article is saying it is as the forever changes. There is two main changes that will be discussed in this group discussion. So the first one are the rise of student consumer as a dominant player in some higher education system and increased recognition of the mental and emotional needs of students, which were hidden during the pandemic. So for the first one, the higher educational student post-pandemic wants an academic experience that is both flexible and personalized, and they also want an uncomplicated, value-oriented educational experience. And the second forever changes is the mental and emotional needs of students. So I think after we all are on the same page, now let's go ahead and I'm gonna ask some question that I hope you guys can give your opinion. So for the first one is, what is an education crisis and is it that bad? Is it that bad? Now, go ahead.
So maybe I can give my opinion on these questions. So education crisis is a situation when most of the people don't get their education, better education. So I think education crisis is one of the most crucial problems we have in our country, and I think it can become crucial because this problem will affect most of the people. So the knowledge of the people will not be that good.
Okay, so you think that educational crisis is a crucial problem?
Yes.
Okay, maybe next for Brian, what do you think about this?
So in my opinion, education crisis in itself is in this situation for COVID, it's a change in the landscape of education. So when there's a system that is already set in place since old times suddenly shift due to let's say in this case COVID-19, there is a sudden crisis that appears in the situation, and I do think it's a big change and it's a big problem, especially to, let's say, how effective an education is for the students and how the teacher can approach that education, right?
Okay, so you agree with Brian saying that this is a bad thing?
Yeah, I agree with Amy.
Okay, so next maybe Rika, can you give your opinion?
Okay, I totally agree with your opinion. And yes, educational crisis is that bad, as shown by the global disruption to education caused by COVID-19 pandemic that has severely affected learning for higher educational students. We know that international students' mobility has been disrupted, which is why nearly every country in the world offered remote learning opportunities for students. But is this effective? The quality and reach of such initiatives varied greatly and were at best partial substitutes for in-person learning. However, we were desperate, and it's the only way for education to keep going. Moreover, the greatest impact of this educational crisis is knowing that millions of students have abandoned their higher educational goals.
Okay, so you think COVID is causing a severe mobility disruption and it is a bad thing?
Yes.
You also agree with all of them, right?
Yes.
Okay, next maybe Angel.
Okay, in my opinion, it must be understood as the incapacity of the school and education to play its mediating role in caring for, conserving, and transforming the world, requiring an effort of critical reflection on the educational process in order to overcome the challenge presented in the contemporary world. And yes, it is bad because the impact is not only for now, but for long term, and also it's dangerous.
Okay, so you think it is bad and it has some long-term effect. Okay, so next, Davin.
Okay, I think everyone is agree with this. Like, this is a bad education, crisis,
bad,
right?
Bad crisis.
Recording the World Bank, not only Indonesian have bad crisis education, but every country have a bad crisis education.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Okay, so yeah, we are all on the same page, saying that education crisis is actually bad. So next, for the second question. From the article that we have read before, one of the forever changes is the heightening of mental and emotional needs of students. Do you guys think that student emotional needs are really important, or is it just being normalized by the weak student of the modern generation? So, from my right hand side again, please give your opinion.
I think, as we all know, we're now in the endemic of COVID-19. So I think surely most of the students will have a problem in their mental health because of the COVID-19 pandemics, and I think mental health for students is really important. So if student doesn't has a good mental health, it can distract them, and it can becomes really bad problems. So I think mental health is really important things for a student.
So you're saying that mental health is an important thing for the student.
Exactly.
Okay, next one, Brian.
Yeah, so I think that mental health issue is a real thing, especially for students who are facing the COVID era, because let's just say it's the peak of our youth, right, where we want to meet our friends and we want to go out, we want to hang out, and because of the COVID era, we're not capable of doing that, especially for the extroverted students. But on the other side of it, we can see where introverts maybe can thrive more in the situation where they don't need to go out, and they can relax at home and they can have fun by themselves, or maybe with their online friends or something like that. But yeah, so generally speaking, I do feel that the mental health issue is real. But on the other hand, when you see it, like, let's put our parents in the situation where they face all this, I do think there will be less issue about mental health than we have currently in our modern generation. So, in conclusion, from what I was saying is that I think there is an aspect where the mentality of the newer generation is weaker than the older generation.
Okay, so you're agreeing with the statement, yes, that the student of this generation, some of them are weaker than the old generation.
Yes, I think there are more weaker students in this generation than the older.
Okay, but you're still saying that mental health is still important.
It is important.
Okay,
Yes.
nice opinion. So next, Rika, can you give your opinion?
Okay, I agree with Brian's opinion. However, I would like to somehow say some stuff about it, because I agree that there are meeting people, and the opportunity of meeting people is stopped, and people started to be isolated by staying at home during the pandemic. And this, however, create opportunities for students to reflect on themselves. And however, this reflection could lead to disruption and insecurity, which started to pile up and then make them susceptible to depression, anxiety, and eating disorders. And I think this is a mental and emotional issues that already existed but were not addressed or treated, as we students don't really have the time to stop and reflect about our life. For me, there's no such thing as a weak student of modern generation. Mental issues can affect anyone despite of their background. And the forever changes of heightening mental and emotional needs for students is considered a good thing, as higher education started to be aware of the importance of mental health for their students. Universities started to focus on providing counseling sessions for students and consider students' well-being, which is rarely done before. When we know that prioritizing mental health is a bare necessity that should be considered before the pandemic happens.
Okay, so you disagree with Brian by saying there is a weak student. You don't think there is such thing as a weak
Yes.
student of this generation? Okay, thanks for the opinion. Angelica, go ahead.
Okay, for me, I personally think that it is very important because students' emotional can affect their motivation for learning, their behaviors, etiquettes, and skills.
Okay, nice opinion. For the next one, Davin, can you give?
Okay, I'm agree with Brian. Like generation in past more stronger than now. Now, I think generation now is very weak for me. Like everybody can say, "Oh, you hurt my mental hurt," oh,
Yeah.
something like that, and I think that's because the COVID-19. We are at home. We looking social media too much. Something like that for me.
It does actually make sense. Okay. So the summary for the second question. Some of you guys think there is a weak student, and some of you also think that it is the challenge that COVID-19 gives, and there is no such thing as weak student. So for the next question, let's go ahead and jump to the third question. One of the post-pandemic change is online meeting is being normalized. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? So do you guys think that online meeting the normalization of the online meeting is a good thing or a bad thing?
So maybe I can start giving my opinion on these questions. So I think there's a good and a bad side of online meeting. So the bad side is, the good side is when in the past we have to meet the people to start the meeting, right? But in this situation, we can meet with people more easily. We can use Zoom, maybe Line or Discord as our social media, and sadly there is bad sides of online meeting. So the bad side is maybe you can distract when you attend a meeting. You can be distracted from, for example, when social media ringing and you got a call from someone, and yeah, something like that.
Okay, so Daniel thinks that on normalization of the online meeting have good and a bad impact.
Yes.
Okay, next one, Brian, can you give your opinion?
So I also agree with Daniel that there is a good and bad side to it, and so I will cover the good side first. So the good side of normalization of the Zoom meetings for education is that there are more people who can have access to education more freely, based on where they like to study. For example, there's some students who can't focus in class, and they want, let's say they want to study in a cafe or something like that, or a place like that. It enables them to get a better place for them to have their education or study. But then on the other hand, let's just say the same as Daniel, where there's a lot of distractions that might occur from being left alone to study, and it's better to be in class to stay focused and listen to the teacher well, and all that. So yeah, there's two sides of it, but I would say it's more to the bad side of it.
You're saying
I think it's more to the bad side.
it's more to
there,
the bad
there are more
side.
bad side than good side.
Okay, interesting. So next one is Rika.
So, I was once like them. I thought that online classes are bad and it's low quality. But now, as I actually experienced by myself, I went to university and I listened to lectures all day. I feel that online meeting, no, not online meeting. I mean like offline meeting, is kind of a waste of time. As we actually can listen to lectures at home or while doing other stuff. For instance, we can actually juggle work and studies at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't really need to listen all day to lectures and can still search for income through working. So this is a method of multitasking, in my opinion. And if we study online, we can actually figure out about our passion and our hobbies. We can do our passion and hobbies in our spare time, unlike when we go to university directly, as most of our time are wasted there as we meet our friends and interact with people. And then, as I mentioned before, maybe once the COVID-19 actually appeared at the first time, it is actually the quality of online meeting is bad as we are not used to it. But now as the pandemic already happens and we get to used to online meeting already, there's a lot of technologies that are updated, and thus online meeting is much more better in terms of quality, and thus I don't think there's a reason that online meeting is ineffective right now.
Okay, so you're saying that online meeting is a time consuming thing and it is a waste of time, and that spare time can be used for your hobby, your passion. Okay, nice opinion. Next one, Angel, can you give your...
Okay, due to this COVID-19 circumstances, in my personal opinion, I think that it is already normal that meeting is being held online. Neither it was good or bad, because according to people's own opinion.
Okay, next one, Davin.
Okay. I don't agree with. I disagree with Rika, because I think with us with we multitasking, we can't focus with the meeting, right? So we can focus with meeting. We don't understand what they're talking about, and same like Daniel, we got more distraction from this phone, like social media, phone ringing, or something like that.
But don't you think that it is a personal problem, that you're the only one that's facing this? Maybe Rika can still multitask, or do you think this is like a general, everyone have this problem also?
I think mostly people have a problem like me.
Okay, nice approach.
I would like to add some more
Okay,
as well.
Brian.
So if we use online meeting, I think the intimacy with our friends is also less, especially for us who are, let's say,
Yeah.
all of us here are
Good friends.
university students. We're freshmen,
Okay.
and we want to know a lot of people. We want to know new friends, and with it being online, it's going to be harder for us to engage with people and know them better and get new friends.
Yeah.
So with it being offline, it's definitely better as well in terms of socializing.
Okay, so you think offline is still better?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I want to add.
Okay, Rika, please add.
I think maybe not full offline, but hybrid. Like we can still have online and offline meeting, in a way that so most of the meeting that are held offline could be divided into online too. So they are still divided. Like we can still pursue our hobbies and passion and work while we can still focus on the lecture. I think that's my opinion.
Okay, great. What a nice opinion. Okay, yeah. I think this question is actually quite fun to discuss, yes, because there is so many different perspective and approach to this topic. Okay, but I think so the summary is this is like a personal thing. Some people are preferring online classes. Some people are preferring offline classes. I think maybe the university should give them a choice to attend offline or online, doing more hybrid classes. Yeah, I think that is all for today's group discussion. Thank you guys for your participation, and yeah, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.